Today, we're diving into the story of one man's absolutely wild, lifelong journey for knowledge and the system that just couldn't keep up. It's a story that really makes you question what we think an education is supposed to look like. So let's just start with this question. Now, this isn't a riddle, okay? This is the real-life puzzle at the very heart of an educational path that twists and turns across two different continents. A path that just refuses to fit into any of the neat little boxes we have for it. To even start, to get our heads around this journey, we have to look at an education so unique, it had to be done not once, not twice, but in some parts, 3 times over. Okay, just look at this timeline. It really lays out the puzzle, doesn't it? He passes high school in India, then he moves to Australia and passes high school again. Then he completes his first year of university in Australia, goes back to India and has to do that same first year all over again. That's 3 successful first-year completions and 2 high school diplomas, all without failing a single thing. But here's the kicker. After all that incredible effort, and get this, even with universities in Canada and New Zealand saying his combined studies were equal to a full degree, the Australian system just couldn't compute. It couldn't issue a single piece of paper to recognize this unique mix of qualifications. And that right there is what kicks off a lifelong quest for validation. And when he got to Australia, the struggle wasn't just academic. It became a daily, grinding fight for survival and for dignity. I mean, can you even imagine this schedule? He was carrying a full 24-credit load at the University of Adelaide, while also working a permanent cleaning job every single weeknight from 6 to 9 p.m. in a massive 30-story bank building. He was so good at it, he was even named the best worker of the year. The work ethic was just off the charts. Of course, the physical toll was huge. He was getting headaches, showing all the signs of serious exhaustion. But the system's reaction, it's pretty telling. Instead of recognizing the obvious strain he was under, the university sent him to a psychiatrist. It actually took the psychiatrist to say, hey, the problem isn't in his head. The problem is a lack of facilities for a student working this hard just to make ends meet. And this is where you really see his character shine through. The scholarship that brought him there, it got phased out, just like that. So he spent his holidays picking fruit to pay tuition. He was even offered an easy path to a green card if he just claimed a life threat back home, but he refused on principle. He turned down steady jobs, all to chase his own intellectual path. Every single time, integrity won out over the easy way. So what do you do when life throws all of that at you? Well, you don't just endure it. You synthesize it. You turn it into something completely new. He came up with a new framework he called Philfo. And the name says it all. It's a mix of philosophy, the self, and ology, the science of something. It was born directly out of this need to connect the dots, to build a bridge between his Indian and Australian education, and to make sense of everything he was learning, both inside and outside the classroom. And look, this wasn't some abstract idea he came up with in a library. Philfo was forged in the real world. Those late-night cleaning shifts, the Sunday talks with different religious communities, the academic struggle itself. Every single experience became a building block for this new, holistic way of thinking. And this wasn't just some personal project to make sense of his own life. Not at all. He saw it as a blueprint for a whole new global approach to research, to education, and even to medicine. His grand ambition was to build a totally new kind of school, a world R&D university. And this university would be designed from the ground up to recognize exactly the kind of knowledge he had, that blend of interdisciplinary, experience-based learning that the existing systems couldn't even process, let alone reward. And the vision? It was audacious. To get this new field on the map, he actually proposed awarding its first honorary doctorate to then-President Barack Obama. Not for his politics, but for his creative works in literature. It was a bold move, a statement that Philfo could recognize and value genius in whatever form it takes. So here's a really cool, practical example of how his framework could be applied to medicine. He saw a way to bring together different traditions. So ancient Ayurveda, with its deep wisdom about life and balance, that's the philosophy. Homeopathy, which is all about the individual and the body's internal logic, that represents the self. And modern allopathy, with its focus on hard data and repeatable results, that's the science. The idea isn't that one is right and the others are wrong. Instead, they all become parts of a single, more complete approach to health. So, after all these years, after all this struggle, the research, the innovation,
Where does his incredible quest for recognition stand right now?
Well, the work certainly never stopped. He's poured a lifetime of experience and research into writing more than 20 books. That's a huge body of work, laying out all of his ideas for the world to see.
And that research just kept evolving, no matter what life threw at him. He was sending proposals to big organizations like the World Intellectual Property Organization and the U.S. Patent Office. When his father's illness meant he had to provide care for 12 years, he turned that time into an intense period of study. He never stopped learning, even earning new qualifications along the way. But here's the truly mind-blowing part. After all of this, the decades of work, the creation of a whole new philosophy, writing over 20 books, that original bureaucratic problem that started this whole thing, it's still there. The quest for official credit for those studies he did in Australia back in the early 90s is unbelievably still going on.
And that really brings us to the final crucial question. This whole story isn't just about one man's fight with paperwork. It really forces us to ask ourselves, what kind of genius, what kind of innovation, what vital human experience do we lose as a society when our systems are so rigid they can't recognize a path they just weren't designed for? What's the real cost of a world that values ticking boxes over true, hard-won knowledge?